there, it's GreenSwanica.PROetess, and I thought I would just share some insights about my process of writing a poem. And as you can see in my super duper messy handwriting, this is the first draft of the poem, and I will go back and, revise, strengthen, improve word choice, line choices, etc. So I use a lot of literary devices in my poetry, and I've got, like, in the beginning, I've got some alliteration with D in dark, D in disc, and I use punctuation throughout. Some poets throughout history have very idiosyncratic, punctuation, like Emily Dickinson, E. Cummings, etc. And I use the ellipsis. I love the ellipsis. The ellipsis is a very versatile punctuation mark. It could mean omitted material, like a large quotation, passage of time, or even a reflective pause. So I use the ellipsis for usually one of those reasons in my prose and poetry. And as you can see, some of these, sometimes I'll highlight different word choices. If I'm not sure, I'll put like word choice question mark meaning, or LC, line choice question mark meaning I'm not really sure. So I'll highlight or put comments or questions in the margins to question my own word choices and line choices. And right here I have a parenthetical aside that I seem to like so far, although this interjection I might be changing, in the future. This is the first draft, so this can go through many iterations before I really decide to finalize the poem. And I've got all kinds of, words I've highlighted, and I have a question mark, so I'm not really sure if those are the best words, in those particular areas of the poem. Another ellipsis. Colon, that's an excellent way to introduce information, whether it be poetry or prose. And I'm very careful of my punctuation marks. If it looks really messy, that's really a hyphen right there. And I've got horrible handwriting, possibly dysgraphia. I also have dyscalculia, which is severe math disorder. So for those of you that have dyscalculia, I feel your pain. I have great difficulty, financial, or just numerical, anything to do with mathematical issues. So anyhow, and this is my poem in its entirety. Of course, I've got, metaphors. I try my best to put, similes in, and assonance, different rhymes. I use free verse usually in my poetry. That's usually one of my, trademark traits, I guess you'd say, or characteristics of my poetry. But yeah, what's very important, and for those of you that are writing your own poetry, just keep in mind it's important to just get your ideas down, because you're going to throw out a lot of ideas. As you can see from my scrawlings here, that I have a lot of ideas that I've thrown out, words, lines that I'm questioning. I'm not sure if they're the best, if they're working well in the poem as a whole. So you yourself will have to make these decisions, or for those of you that are already, are writers, you're already making the decisions of your artists of, whatever your art happens to be, you're making decisions constantly, just like I am as an artist. Poetry is my art. But I just want to show you. So all of this chaos here is, this is the first draft, and this is my art in its early stage and everything. So this particular poem, inspired by a beautiful pre-dawn moon hanging right over one of my teenagers' schools as I was dropping them off in the morning. And I wanted to share just a little bit about my composition process. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I don't want to go on and on and on about it, because it's going to take a lot longer. I might someday in a longer video, but this is just sort of sharing just a few, tidbits about what I do, and, what quickly comes out in a writing frenzy in the first few minutes of creating a poem. And it's so important, the 19th century author Guy de Maupassant, who said, get black and white, just as what I interpret as, just write. get your writing on paper, you can always go back and revise. So if you first, whatever you write down for your first draft, if you think, that's garbage, that's, it's trash. I also think that too, a lot of my work as well. Then I have to go back and sometimes completely overhaul it, revise it quite a bit. So, millions of us worldwide know this process, the process of, revision, strengthening, improving, changing. It really does, mean a lot, especially, I guess I'm concerning, all art, but I guess I'm just focusing on my art, which is poetry. Revision really, improves writing tremendously. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your own writing endeavors. So anyhow, that's it for now. That was just a piece